These are the main mistakes people make in language. Do you see anything familiar here? Apps like Duolingo and a bunch of others that I won't mention simply because I started using them. I stopped using them a very long time ago. Waste of time. If it's gamified, red flag, it's a massive waste of time. Don't use it. Apps are slow, they're a dopamine trap, it's pretend learning. It's making you feel good, and that's it. They're designed to keep you hooked, but you don't improve much. You don't improve your comprehension, and you don't improve maybe your comprehension a little bit because you learn some words, but it's extremely slow and ineffective, and it's a waste of time. And it won't do much for your speaking. That's how you get all those people with 2,000 day streaks on Duolingo, things like that, and they still can speak and they can't understand the language either. Waste of time. It's a distraction. Again, like I said earlier, if it's not helping you move fast towards complete comprehension, effortless comprehension, and fluency, waste of time. Apps are waste of time, massive waste of time. You should sue them even because of all the hundreds or even thousands of hours of your life that you wasted because of them. Language classes, complete waste of time. I wouldn't say so, but obsolete, slow, ineffective. This is ancient technology. This is and there are ways of like if I was in charge of a class, if a group class, I could make it interesting and I could make it effective using my method. But the way it's taught with grammar books, different exercises, multiple choice, this and that, give you the homework. You barely do any speaking practice. You barely do any listening practice, apart from the teacher, which is not realistic listening practice. Very slow, very ineffective. You need years and years to get to B2 level or C1 level. Many years. And for a lot of people, not even then. No, I know lots and lots of people who've been stuck at the A2, B1 ish level in English for a decade. And they keep going to English classes every year here. And they, at the end of the year, they're more or less at the same level that they were at the beginning of the year. And then next year, then they'll do nothing uh, during the summer. And then they go back and restart at the same level and again and again and again. And there's no improvement. Language classes extremely, extremely uh, ineffective and slow. Next one, almost as slow and ineffective. Comprehensible input, really slow. You need thousands of hours watching dumb content, childish beginner videos. Honestly, most of us have better things to do with our time than watch childish, dumb videos for beginners. And you have to do that for many hundreds of hours before you can read or listen to or watch something slightly more interesting. So extremely slow and ineffective. Also, too passive. There's no speaking there. I mean, theoretically, you could shadow the video or something like that, but no, people who are into comprehensible input, this is what you get. And trust me, someone was telling me the other day in the comments, "Oh, don't knock it until you've tried it." Mate, I've read 100 books, no, way more than 100 books in French to be over 150. But right, I keep reading books in French, but because it's interesting. But back in the day, I was reading books because I thought I'd get fluent in French at some point. And my spoken French, even after I don't know how many thousands of hours of videos, podcasts, and books, my spoken French wasn't good still. You know why? Because you need speaking practice to get good at speaking. So comprehensible input is good for reviewing what you've already learned, and it's good to enjoy content, to enjoy the results. It's a It's comprehensible input is you enjoying interesting content in the language after doing the hard work. You cannot get the results by doing the this. You need to first do the hard work, right? Also, the last bit, the 80-20 rule. In this case, it's against you because comprehensible input will be surprisingly effective at first, and then it'll give you a false sense of improvement because once when you start listening to content or watching videos or reading or whatever you're doing, you'll improve or you'll feel like you improve a lot at first because you learn all the common words fast. But the problem is, after the first thousand-ish words in the language, the frequency of the words drops very, very fast. So after learning the first 500 to 1,000 words, you need more and more and more input to learn more words. Yeah, instead of learning 1,000 words with, I don't know, 100,000 words of input, you need a million words of input to learn the next 1,000 words, and even more for the next 1,000 words, and so on. So the amount of input you need per word keeps growing after, and it grows really fast after the first few thousand words. So it becomes very slow very quickly. It's again, it's good to review what you've already learned, and it's good to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Once your level is good, you've learned thousands of words, you've memorized thousands of words, tens of thousands of example sentences, you learn pronunciation, and then now you get to listen to podcasts, watch films, and read books or whatever you want to do. You get to enjoy all that. But if you try to learn by doing that, and trust me, I've done a lot of it in the past, I still I still read and listen to content a lot in many different languages, but because I enjoy doing it, and I do that in my free time, I don't consider it language learning, right? It's me enjoying the fruits of my language learning. It's not me learning languages. When I listen to a history podcast in Polish, or when I read books in French or Russian or whatever, it's me enjoying the language. It's not me learning. The learning has been done before to be able to get there. The last one, the passport bro expert's favorite. Just move to the country and talk to people, bro. Imagine it won't work because unless you just abandon your previous life and just move somewhere, get a job there, move in with locals, only speak the language. You don't go on the internet and you only use the language. And 99.9% of people won't do that. It's not going to work because if you move to the country, you will need a job. And most of you will have an online business or a remote job, and you will do it in English. So that's already most of your day in English. And then you spend lots of time, because we all do, online. And that's going to be mostly also in English or whatever your native language is. So that's not going to be in the target language either. So your practice is going to be uh, showing up to some socializing events or some bar, probably also with other English speaking expats. And there try to talk to people, or the short interactions you've got, you have on a daily basis with people, supermarket or bakery, whatever. But that's you don't say more than 50 sentences a day in total, which is nothing. So just talk to people, bro. It's not going to work. If you do an hour of shadowing, intensive, deliberate practice with language islands, you get more practice in one session, in 1 hour session, in an hour session, than in a month or two or even 3 months of move to the country and talk to people, bro. And I'm serious. Just do the math, right? Just because it's over 1,000 sentences that you shadow in an hour. Around 1,000, slightly more than 1,000. Um, some of you have been living in South America for 6 months or more, and you haven't said, you haven't spoken 1,000 sentences in Spanish in total. Yeah, I do that in an hour of uh, shadowing. So yeah, go out, talk to people, move to the country, have fun with that, but do the work at home. If you've done 30, 50, 1,000, 100,000 um, sentences, reps of listening and repeating using mass sentences and language islands, the talk, go out and talk to people part is going to be extremely easy because you'll be fluent already. But if you try to learn by going out and talking to people, you'll get to a very basic level, survival level maximum, and you'll stay stuck there forever. This reminds me a little bit of a guy who he was really fat. I kept telling him, like, "Hey man, why don't you come to the gym with me one? Give it a try, and then you start coming." And it's like, you know what? I'll lose some weight and then I'll start going. But I really need to lose some weight first. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. This is the same thing. You improve your speaking with deliberate practice, and then you go out and talk to people, and you actually enjoy the conversations. And if you've got 1,000 language island sentences that you've memorized and practiced with shadowing, and you're able to use them in conversation, the talk to people bro part is going to be much easier because, well, you'll be able to say a lot of stuff. So conversations will keep going, and you'll get way more practice this way every time you try to talk to people. So yeah, show up prepared. That's all I have to say. So long story short, short summary of language learning, the main language learning mistakes people are making these days. Apps, waste of time, delete all of them. Language classes, very slow, not an effective use of your time, especially if it's grammar focused, and especially in groups, because in groups uh, you go into progress. Classes are already slow, even one on one with an online tutor. But if you're in a group, and I guarantee there's going to be someone that's very slow there, you're going to make progress at the slowest. Uh, like the slowest guy in the room will in the classroom will set the pace. So, and even if everyone was smart, classes would be slow because it's just an obsolete method. The grammar, the teacher talks for a while, then gives you some exercise to do. It's very slow and obsolete. Avoid. Comprehensible input. Again, that's a reward, not an effective way of learning. Do the learning first with deliberate practice and hard work, and then enjoy the input with interesting stuff. Avoid all the childish beginner dumb content, and jump straight away to interesting. I'm listening to a really cool podcast in Polish about like World War II, and I understand it. Even my spoken Polish is not very good, but I understand everything because I learned tens of thousands of words before that and all the pronunciation. So I understand well. Um, but I did the learning before I started listening to that because otherwise it'd be a waste of time. But find something that's really interesting and then start listening to it once you've learned all the vocab that you need and you'll learn pronunciation. Otherwise, it's going to be not as enjoyable and also not a good use of your time. And finally, move to the country and talk to people, bro. No, learn to speak first and then do that. So it's going to be much more enjoyable and a better use of your time, right?